Today we're going to be talking about how to monitor real-time engagement using Heroku Connect and Agentforce. This is actually a really exciting subject because what it talks about is how to connect your agents that are stuck within Salesforce and how to expose their outputs to the world at large. So, Chris, if you wouldn't mind doing the honors.
Absolutely. As the resident Salesforce employee for this presentation, I must remind you all about the most exciting part of TDX, our forward-looking statement slide. Please make any and all purchasing decisions based on general available functionality, and you know the rest, I won't bore you. Check our website if you'd like to read it. And thank you all for being here. It means a lot that you're interested in Agentforce, Heroku, and tying all of them together.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Chris Peterson. I'm a Senior Director of Product Management at Heroku, and I'm mostly here to sit here and look pretty and take questions at the end if you have any questions about the Heroku platform or the upcoming features that Errol is going to be talking about. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Errol, who has done all of the actual legwork on this presentation.
Fantastic, thank you. And we're very lucky to have Chris here today. He's very, very knowledgeable, so definitely ask questions at the end. My name is Errol. I'm the CEO of Reinteractive. We are a Heroku consulting partner. So without further ado, the obligatory, of course, coffee on us. If you're one of the first 800, a $5 Starbucks gift card, get onto it. All right, what are we going to talk about today? So what we're doing is we're going to build a real life application, and it's going to be developed using Agentforce to power it, or to power some aspects of this particular application. We've designed the entire UX that I'm going to show you in a second, and then we're going to build that application using React and Ruby on Rails. We're going to deploy that app to Heroku. We're going to integrate the data using Heroku Connect, and at the end of that, we're going to have a delivered, fully integrated agentic app. So just before we get into it, just a show of hands, who's familiar with Heroku? Just so I'm, oh, awesome, great. Woo. Okay, good, that's fantastic. I won't go into a lot of detail on some of the terms, just because you'll know them, but what I am going to do is show you something really exciting that you're going to be really interested in. And by way of introduction as well, I just wanted to read you this quote. You've probably seen it before. It's one that I've seen many, many times in my life. So this is Arthur C. Clarke. He wrote these 3 laws really about the age that we're living in now, even though they were written some time ago. And what he said is, the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. And that really is where we stand today, at the cusp of what's impossible. And as trailblazers, learning what we're learning in these 2 days at TDX and everything that we're doing in our technology, we're pushing the boundaries into the impossible, and I'm encouraging everybody to do exactly that. All right, let's tell a story. So we have our protagonist, and this is a very typical use case. Our protagonist is a traveler, and they are traveling on business. They're in New York, and they've been called urgently to go to San Francisco on business, 2 days, unplanned. Let's get to San Francisco. And so, of course, to do this, they're going to want to use an app. They're going to want to book their flights. Importantly, they're going to want to book their hotel using that app. And if they're booking a hotel using their app, there's a few things that are going to be important to them. And if anybody in this room right now is a traveler, these are things that you will respect if you're a frequent traveler. First of all, you don't want to waste time on your bookings. You want the UX of that app to be A to B, no fluff, no noise. It's got to be exact. You want to feel important, because when you go to a hotel, there might be hundreds of rooms in that hotel, people everywhere, but you've got to feel important. And the way that we do that, or the way that that's going to be achieved, is by those venues remembering what you prefer, your likes, your dislikes. All of those sorts of things become really, really important when you travel a lot. They can be minor things as well, but they become super important. And the last point, which is probably the most important, is you have to, well, the traveler is going to prefer when the technology helps them and isn't intrusive in their life. Does that all make sense? Okay, great. Let's move on. So our application that we're building today, this is our stack. First of all, we've designed the application UX using Figma. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Figma. I'm going to show you the designs in a second. We've built it using React and Ruby on Rails, 2 very, very common languages. React for the front end, Ruby on Rails back end. Versioning is going to be done in GitHub. Also very, very popular, but there's going to be a good reason. I'm going to show you why we're using GitHub in a second. And finally, we're going to deploy and manage our application using Heroku. Okay, first of all, our UX. As I said, all designed in Figma. The 4 screens that I've shown you here are really just the start. These are the 4 that really, I think, are just going to explain what we're doing. And just to prove that we have got the full UX done, here is all of the screens, or at least the ones that were designed for this project. There is quite a few of them. I can share these with you at the end, more than happy to do that. But I just wanted to prove to you that this was a real application. And here is our GitHub repository. So this is just the React portion of the app. So you see our source folder here, and going into the app itself. And you can see the various renderings here. Just going to show you the concierge chat, so just to prove that this is, of course, real. So you can see here the JavaScript at the top. At the bottom is our HTML. I have hard-coded some things into this just to show you that they exist, but they do all exist. It's very, very simple. And we want to keep it simple as well, because as I said, the UX has to be simple, and so the whole application itself has to be simple. Okay, next thing. We're going to be using Heroku. Now, we're not just going to be using any old version of Heroku here. We're actually using the next generation of Heroku called Fur. Chris, you're going to tell us all about this.
Absolutely. So this is something we announced at reInvent in Las Vegas in December as a pilot program. We are effectively rebasing the Heroku developer experience on top of Kubernetes and other cloud-native primitives. So one of the things about Heroku is that we really came to market before containerization, before cloud orchestration was really a solved problem in the market. And we created a bunch of our own solutions. But as we've watched the market evolve, we've seen the CNCF, Cloud Native Computing Foundation, a number of open standards that compete with what Heroku did in a proprietary way many years ago. And effectively, we have decided that it's better to embrace the open standards of the community. And so we're replatforming the foundation of Heroku onto Kubernetes and those cloud native technologies. So instead of Heroku proprietary build packs, because there was no standard at the time, we actually helped with Pivotal and launched cloud native build packs, which, similar solution, but generate OCI images instead of Heroku proprietary slugs. So the overall genesis of Fur is adopting those open standards, modernizing the Heroku platform, and capitalizing on all the benefits of open source so that we're not competing with Kubernetes, we're embracing it and extending it. That said, it is fundamentally the same Heroku you know and love. So this isn't, we are pivoting to being a Kubernetes hosting platform. It's more of an interesting implementation detail under the hood that'll allow us to move faster, deliver more features, and have a much more aggressive roadmap that's focused on developer experience instead of on us solving infrastructure problems that are largely solved in the industry as a whole. So Errol was one of the people in the pilot, and so he built this on top of Fur to show the capabilities and how similar it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's sort of the interesting thing about this. You don't have to know much about Kubernetes. In fact, you probably don't have to know anything about Kubernetes in order to use this next generation of Heroku. And you're going to see, because I'm going to demo the complete deployment in just 1 second. And you'll see, if you know Heroku, it basically looks exactly the same. So
there's 2 command line flags that are different.
Okay, all right. Not using the CLI today.
Yeah, that was a joke. The 2 command line flags that are different is the story.
That's the entirety. Okay. And of course, we're also going to be using today the Heroku pipeline. You're going to see why in a second. So let me just, a word about the Heroku pipeline. Many people in here will have used it before, but maybe not everybody. So the Heroku pipeline is going to manage our deployment. We're going to be using GitHub to do that. 3 stages that we're going to look at here. The first one is for the various branches that we can review. The second one is our staging environment. You can use that for testing, UAT, and so on. And the last one is production. Each of them are going to connect to a specific environment. I'm going to show you all of this in 1 second. All right, so let's have a look at this is our Heroku Fur dashboard. And as you can see, it looks exactly the same. We're going to set up a brand new application. This is all really simple to do. Hit the new button. It's going to give us 2 choices, a new app or a new pipeline. We're going to create a pipeline today. And we're going to give that pipeline a name, TDX4, because I used 1 to 3 already. Really simple. Pipeline owner is reinteractive Fur. deselect that, and we're going to now connect it to GitHub. So find the repository, we're going to connect it to a reinteractive one and search for TDX because I can't remember the name of the repo. Search for that, it's going to come up. So we're just going to connect that one and create our pipeline by hitting that button at the bottom. So that was easy. So our pipeline is set up. As you can see, that's just creating now, it's generating. And we have our 3 environments. As I said, for our branches at the start, the review apps, our staging environment, and our production environment. And each of them can be connected separately. So we want to just add an app. We're just going to use staging today to make it easy. It's going to be on its own unique Heroku URL. So we're going to create a new app in this case. And again, TDX4 app. We already have our pipeline. We're going to connect that to staging. We could select production here if we wanted to. Location is going to be a private space. I'm going to explain why this is in a second. But we're connected to the Virginia private space. So this makes it all very easy. And then as we zoom out, we are now creating this. So we want to connect it to GitHub. So we already connected GitHub in the pipeline earlier. So now we want to connect the app to that. Select that. This is all very simple. So we could do automatic deploys to this environment. We're not going to do an automatic deploy in this case. We're just going to do a manual one just for what we're doing, but we could set up rules around an automatic deployment if we wanted to.
You didn't set up a whole branching strategy for this demo?
No, sadly. I mean, if we had a little bit longer, I could do that. And we're just going to do the build right now. This is not real time, just so you know. I did time it. It takes about 1.5 minutes to do the build. In this case, it's going to take a couple of seconds because I didn't think you'd want to sit through watching it all. But it does take about 1.5 minutes. It is incredibly fast, and that's done. We're now ready to go. How simple was that? Next thing we want to do is, of course, we've got to set up our database. So again, we're just going to search for Postgres. This is on our add-ons now. So we're going to search for Postgres. Here it is, Heroku Postgres. Select that, and you're going to see how easy this is to set up. Now, I'm not going to actually set up the entire database. I'm going to let Heroku Connect do that. But just to prove it to you here, we're using the private 0 in this case. And there are a ton of databases, and the databases that are available keep growing continuously. And you can see them here, various varieties of databases, including different privacy. But we're just going to select the private 0 in this case, submit the order form, and we're done. And there it is. Database is ready to go. Next thing we want to do is use Heroku Connect. Who in the room's used Heroku Connect before?
It'd be kind of awkward if I hadn't, yeah.
You've used it once or twice? Yeah, me too. So I just want to show you again Heroku Connect here because this is going to become central to connecting our agent. And again, super easy, super simple. We're going to search for it in our add-ons, Heroku Connect. So what Heroku Connect is going to do for anyone in the room that doesn't know is it's going to connect Salesforce to our database in Heroku. So we're going to use the demo edition. This is a free edition of Heroku Connect. It's not going to sit inside our private space. It's outside, but that's fine for what we're doing today. Otherwise, we would select a paid for one. That's fine. And submit the order form. Again, this is very, very simple to set up. So that's now set up. What we're going to do now is actually connect some things. So let's drill into this Heroku Connect. And we're going to connect it to our demo version of Salesforce that I set up earlier. So set up the connection. It's as easy as this. Is all a new generation Heroku, by the way. All right, so we've got our database selected. We're going to use the Salesforce schema and just hit next. This is all very simple. And once this is rolling along, we're now going to jump into our Salesforce org. So it's going to connect to our Salesforce org. So we're going to select our production environment. We could select Sandbox if we wanted to, of course, and the API version, and authorize. So when we hit authorize, it's going to flip over to Salesforce for us to log into the org that we want to use. I've sped up that login process because I'm sure if you're at TDX, you've logged into Salesforce before.
And I think everybody's seen an OAuth flow by this point.
You've definitely seen all of it, yeah. But we're going to speed this up. It's going to happen in 1 second. Here it goes. Username, password, and
I think your password's a little too short, Errol.
Yes, I'll tell you what it is in a second. Okay, there we go. So that's now set up. We now have our Salesforce org connected to our Postgres database. Now we're going to select some things that we want to sync across. So we go to mappings. And we are now going to create a new mapping. So go down to this button down here, create a mapping. And here's all the things that we can map. We're just going to find contacts. This is all we're going to map today. We could map as many things as we want to. We're just going to do a contact object at the moment. And once we're into this, we're just going to find the exact fields that we want to sync across. So again, I've sped this up. Polling in this case. So normally it's at 10 minutes. I've selected accelerate polling, which means it's going to happen every 2 minutes. So that's near to real time. So that means things are going to sync both directions every 2 minutes. So just selecting the various objects here.
And while you're doing that, there's actually a pilot to use change data capture to make polling even faster.
Oh, wow.
So anybody who's interested in Heroku Connect and faster CDC polling, let us know. There's a pilot for that.
Right, that's awesome. Because for some reason, 2 minutes is too long sometimes.
Plus, there's some objects that aren't push topic enabled. CDC, good solution.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. So that's already synced. Took a couple of milliseconds to go. So we have 15 fields that I mapped across for the contact object, and we have 145 rows now synced, ready to go. So that's as easy as it is to sync the databases across. This is going to become very important. Obviously, Heroku Connect is an incredibly powerful tool as it is, and we like it because over and above some other ways of syncing databases across, it all sits within the Salesforce trust boundary, so we know it's highly secure. It is very, very fast, and there's a lot of certainty with it. I know that if I change something in Salesforce, it's going to update to Postgres straight away, and vice versa. So imagine, if you will, our protagonist again, he's got his app open, and he notices that he forgot to update his address. His address is the old one. He moved 3 months ago. So he notices that. So in the app, he changes his address. And as soon as he changes that, that data goes across to Salesforce. And now your Salesforce contact is updated almost in real time. No one had to think about that. No one had to do any data cleansing to fix that up.
And you didn't write any Salesforce API code to do that.
I did.
It's the bidirectional sync of Heroku Connect. So it's just a regular Postgres write from your app.
The developers love this. Developers love Heroku Connect because that's how long it takes to set up, and it's done. No more thinking about it, it's complete. Okay, so let's see a demo of this now working. So we have our contact, 145 rows, and there's another awesome tool within Heroku. It's called Data Clips. Data Clips. Data Clips?
Good choice.
Data Clips. Let's call it Data Clips today. So this allows us to interrogate our database. So we can see things on the fly, which is a very useful developer tool. Really simple SQL command in here. Select all. Never use select all, of course, if you're a developer, but I've used it today. So select all from the Salesforce contact database, and we're just going to see how fast this is to look at our database, and we're just going to run this SQL.
Well, it's locally replicated, so this should be milliseconds at worst.
It is. Hang on, I think it's going to be 20 something. 25 milliseconds, there you go. 145 rows, there they are. And I'm just going to show you one specific row now. So it's going to be me in this case. So we're just going to have a look at my record. Again, simple SQL command. You don't need to use the ones that are this simple, of course. And we've got one complete row. Run that command. And you're going to notice when this row comes up, here's all the information. There's a couple of null fields. There's null fields here because when somebody set up this record inside Salesforce, they didn't put all of the information in. So they sync across as a null row. So I'm just going to show you what we can do about that, because of course in this day and age of AI, we want great data sitting in Salesforce in order for our AI agents to use this information. So here's the record in Salesforce. And I'm just going to update it really fast so you can see exactly how quickly this can be done. So we're going to go to the address field, which is what was empty. Edit that. I'm going to put in the information. That says Maribyrnong, by the way. It's my address. It's very hard to read, but it says Maribyrnong. Save that. And now we're going to go back to Heroku Connect, go back to our SQL command and data clips. Oh, sorry, first we've just got to push that across. Just going to poll now because we can't wait the 2 minutes. So I've just pushed a polling in real time. Go back to data clips and go back to our SQL command. I've got a typo in here. I left this in the demo to prove. So it is case sensitive. Select and run, nothing's going to come up. Good, let's fix that.
Well, now we know it's SQL and not SOCL.
Yeah, right. Right, I mean, it is good that it's case sensitive. It should be. Run that and you'll see that all of those fields are now filled in correctly. There they are. There's the address. Everything's filled in. So that's the power of Heroku Connect, happening super fast in almost real time. Okay, we've designed our app, we've built it, we've put it into GitHub, we've connected GitHub to Heroku, we've set up Heroku Connect, we've connected our Salesforce org. The app is now live and ready to go. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to look at that. So here we are again in the Heroku dashboard. And there's a little button up the top here that says Open App. Imagine that, Open App, that's simple. Didn't even have to look at the local host. And there it is, live on the internet. And this is our app. So just showing you a couple of screens here. This is a POC, by the way, not fully fleshed out, but where are we going to go? San Francisco, of course. That's not a picture of San Francisco.
To be fair, I think this app is more polished than most demos here, but
right. The guy who does UX loves it. So there's a few things hard-coded in here, obviously. But you can see that it works. It is a real app. I can give you the URL of this so you can play with it yourself, but it does work. There we go. There's our room based on the last stay, the Premium King Suite. Okay. Next thing we want to do is set up our agent. So I'm going to talk through a little bit of this. Now, what I don't want to do is go into a ton of detail on how to build an agent or what an agent is. I think you've been to enough sessions already, and if you haven't, you should do that today. So I'm not going to go into that. It's not my area of expertise. Heroku is. What I do want to show you, though, is how we can use an Agentforce, to get things done inside of our application. So let me show you real fast, and then I'm going to talk through it. So this is a screen that I'm sure you're going to be very, very familiar with. I think this one comes up in every single demo.
I think it's required. When you sign up for TDX,
yeah,
it's in the
You must have this, absolutely. So just to prove that this is actually a real agent, here's all of our instructions over here. The scope, the instructions, yes, very good. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our agent now to actually look at something very specific inside our contact inside Salesforce. We're going to look at the contact object and the specific field inside of that for our particular user. And we're going to look at something useful there because we're going to get our agent to actually do something with that information, update a field, and then push that information across into our app. So here we are in our contact. So again, we're going to use me. And we have here a field called Preferences. And inside Preferences, plain text, unformatted, we've just got a bunch of things that we know this particular traveller likes. Prefers a top window, 2 cans of beer on arrival, not Foster's.
You knew where I was going. I had to get one Australian joke in there. Got me.
Just so you know, no one drinks Foster's. I'm Australian, just in case I didn't tell you earlier. So in our preferences, we can update this if we want. Now, we can have our user update this directly in their app, push it across into Salesforce, or we can have the concierge as the guy's checking out, he says, you know what, my room was too cold. Okay, we know this traveler likes a warm room. Let's add this into his preferences in Salesforce. It's now recorded in there. So the great thing about this now is it's a field in here. We can have our agent read the information in here or update information in here, and then we can push that across into our app. So how's that going to look in our app? So here we've got just the screen from the app, and we've given our traveler a bunch of preferences. So he's asked some things inside of, we know they're in Salesforce, inside his preferences. The agent's picked those up, and we've pushed those across, and we're now going to check that this is actually what he wants, because there's an implication of it, but we want to be certain. So we've just asked the questions. Do you want a wake-up call? Yes, 6 a.m. Do you want something to drink? Well, I'll have the Stella. Maybe he doesn't want the Stella this time. Maybe he wants a San Franciscan micro-brewed IPA.
I knew you were going to get a joke in there. We deserve it. I'll take it.
Actually, I wouldn't mind that. It sounds all right. Food, does he want a steak? Maybe something else. Maybe he wants a pasta this time. Pillows, hard pillow. And if none of that's correct, of course, click on the button, chat with the concierge, go straight into an AI chat. And the AI chat, again, super easy. So we're using Heroku, we're using React. So here literally is the JS that we're going to use. This first screen that I'm showing you here is literally all it takes to configure the UI for our chat function. This is all it is. And this is taken from a real live app as well. This is not a sample bit of code. This is the real thing. And this is the piece of JS that we're going to use to show the UI in our application. Really simple, and you can see that it's real here. There's some styling, there's what else can we see here? A little bit of HTML, some feedback for errors and so on.
Really, at the end of the day, it's 2 small JavaScript files to bring Agentforce into your Heroku app.
It's really, really simple, and it's done like that. The setup in Salesforce, that's something different. That's a different session. And here's what that concierge chat could look like. Just updating. Here's some flight details. Now, because we're using Heroku, we've got the ability to use an API to send out to anywhere on the internet. So in this case, we've got a button that says open an airline app. And by clicking on that, take our user directly into his airline app. Maybe he's already put his frequent flyer details inside the app, so he's logged in like that. This is the simplicity of it. Some other things we could use this for. On the lock screen, the first screen you can see here, we can have some notifications come up. So we can use the information that's being sent across to say, here's some concierge service for you. And when he opens that, goes straight to the concierge service page. And we can have an entire concierge chat to discuss some of those finer points and make sure they're all set up. So as soon as they're done, what I didn't show you here, but one of the great tools that I think is going to be possible is you can imagine the guy uses his app, or the individual uses his app to sign in, books his hotel room, it goes through, the agent picks up that this guy likes 2 bottles of beer when he arrives. He likes his San Francisco micro-brewed IPA. So as soon as that happens, the agent can send a message via Slack to the bar to order those 2 bottles, bring them up to his room. So the second he arrives at the hotel, it's late at night, it's cold, it's raining, all he wants to do is go to his hotel room. He opens the door, there's his 2 cans of beer sitting on the table ready for him. And that's great service. And this is looking after our frequent traveler, and it's using our agents in a way that is going to actually benefit our end user.
And the real question, how long did it take you to get the Slack SDK working on your Heroku app?
Yesterday, 20 minutes.
There we go.
Yeah. It's really simple to do, really simple. And then, of course, we can use our agent to update objects inside Salesforce. So as the guy's checking out, he says, you know what, that was a fantastic stay, room was too cold, let's add that into our preferences. Next time our traveler arrives at the hotel, we're going to know. Or even if it's not that hotel, maybe it's one in another city in the US. But there's Salesforce record exists for the whole period of time. And of course, because of this, our traveler is now going to leave happy. We've looked after him. We've given him all of his preferences. We've looked after everything that he likes and he doesn't like, and we've pushed it through to his Salesforce Heroku app, which is live in production and ready to use. What do you think?
I mean, I'd be happy with the value on that consulting engagement.
Sounds good. All right, so here's the exciting part. Using next generation of Heroku, we started with our app written in React and Rails on the back end. From the moment that we had that in GitHub to the moment it was ready on the internet, 10 minutes of time. That's all it took. Probably even a little bit less. And I used today the UI. I used the dashboard to deploy. You could do that in the command line. It would probably take you even less time.
Yeah, I mean, half that with the CLI.
Yeah. Type it and you're done. All right.
Especially if you script it.
Yeah, exactly. It's done like that, right? Because you've got the same deploys. All right, some resources for you. Here is the deck. Feel free to have a look at this. It's got the videos inside the deck. You've got to click on them to look at it. The GitHub repo is there if you want to have a look at that. And there is definitely more on next generation Heroku. This is definitely coming out very soon. We won't say when because we don't know.
Well, I do. But
you do.
The marketing team has told me I'm allowed to say, stay tuned for news in the next month or two on when the official GA for the FUR generation of Heroku will launch. It'll definitely be in production well before Dreamforce. So in the next couple months, we'll have official news, but not that much longer. The pilot's been going great, thanks in part to partners like Errol, who've been helping test it and sending us wonderful bug reports.
Yeah, and from a developer viewpoint, next generation Heroku is going to open up all sorts of doors for us, make life a lot easier for our clients and for our developers as well. It's an exciting advancement.